In the near future, humanity develops a powerful exoskeleton suit for combat called Infinite Stratos. Since only women can pilot the suit, this is a huge effect on society. All of this takes a turn when the protagonist, Ichika Orimura, is discovered to be the first ever male Infinite Stratos pilot. He enrolls himself in a highly prestigious IS academy, which obviously has an all-female strength, except for Ichika. Ichika is overwhelmed due to this stimulation and has difficulty introducing himself to everyone in the class. He's surprised to learn that his older sister, Chifuyo Orimura, whom he only meets once a year, is a teacher at the academy, along with Maya Yamada. Being the only male IS pilot in the world, girls in the academy take a liking to him. He also runs into his old friend, Hoki Shinanono, who he hasn't seen in 6 years. They have an awkward conversation before resuming the class. He then meets Cecilia, a self-obsessed British IS pilot with top scores in the entrance exam. He ends up annoying her due to his lack of knowledge regarding IS honors and awards. After his class, he heads to his dorm, only to find out that Hoki, his old friend, is his roommate. He walks in on her taking a shower and she forces him out. Outside, he's surrounded by the obsessive girls at the academy. After begging Hoki to save him, she lets him in. They establish some rules before sharing the room. The next day, the homeroom teacher asks the class to elect their class representative by casting votes. Ichika's obsessive fanbase ends up electing him as the representative. This upsets Cecilia, who challenges Ichika to a duel for the class representative position. His sister tells Ichika that he will be given his personal IS suit for the duel. There are only 467 IS units in the world, since their creator of the IS units, who happens to be Tabane Shinanono, Hoki's older sister, only created a limited number of cores for said IS units. Hoki's sister then disappeared and wasn't found again. Ichika's sister tells him that he'll be given a personal unit since he is a unique case and can provide some useful data to the scientists. After the launch, Ichika attempts to get along with Hoki and takes her out for lunch. He asks Hoki to teach him how to operate an IS. She agrees to teach him and uses her kendo experience to brutally train Ichika. On the day of the duel, Ichika gets angry at Hoki for teaching him only kendo. As his IS unit, Byakushiki, arrives, he's forced to go into battle without any IS training. Cecilia's IS, Blue Tears, proves to be a formidable opponent with its long-range attacks. Ichika manages to get close to deliver the blow with his sword, but is blasted by her missiles. It turns out that Ichika was only using default settings up until now. As he goes into the first shift, he unlocks his energy sword, Yukihara 2. His shield energy runs out before he can land a killing blow. Cecilia is declared the winner as Ichika's IS ran out of energy. Ichika agrees to train more with Hoki using his new IS. After this duel, Celica has taken a liking to Ichika. During a test flight, Ichika gets hurt and Cecilia comes to his aid and asks if he's okay. She later ends up declining the class representative position, thus making Ichika the new class representative. She also apologizes for acting rude the other day. All of this annoys Hoki, who acts sulky around Ichika before apologizing to him when they go to bed. The next day, Ichika meets a transfer student, Fawn Rin. She happens to be Ichika's childhood friend as well. She also happens to be in another class and is the representative of her class, just like Ichika. As Ichika and Fawn Rin get along with each other after many years, this upsets Hoki and Cecilia. They meet up and talk with each other. Ichika recalls when he accidentally moved an IS and became the first and only man to do so. When she learns that Ichika shares his room with Hoki, she gets jealous and asks Hoki to swap rooms with her. When Hoki refuses, Rin tries to remind Ichika of the childhood promise he made with her. Rin had told him that she will treat him with food every day once she grows up. Ichika remembers but fails to understand the meaning of the promise. Rin gets angry and tells Ichika that they will sort it out with the class league match approaching next week. The winner can demand anything from the loser. The match begins, and it turns out that Rin and Ichika are going to go one-on-one in the first round of the class league match, with her IS being Shenlong, a close combat type suit like Ichika. The match begins as they both draw out their weapons. Rin's Shenlong is stronger and tougher than Ichika's Byakushiki. As they're sword fighting, Rin uses an unexpected attack and blasts Ichika with a shock cannon. He repeatedly attacks him with her shock cannon, and Ichika barely manages to dodge them. Ichika remembers what his sister taught him about his energy blade. He moves closer to her so he can use the blade to deliver the blow, but their match is interrupted by an unknown IS. This causes a panic in the area. Ichika and Rin decide to hold the IS until the teachers arrive. The enemy IS locks all the gates so no one can come to help them. They're having a hard time fighting the enemy while the academy staff try to open the gates. During the fight, they realize that the IS is a golem operating without a pilot. With the help of Cecilia, they're able to defeat the golem. However, Ichika is hurt in the process. As he heals in the hospital, Rin takes care of him. When he wakes up, he asks whether there was a different meaning to the promise they made as a kid. However, Rin blushes and can't admit to it, so she denies it and changes the subject. Meanwhile, the self-piloting IS is examined by the teachers, and it turns out that it was operating on a different core than the other 467 units. When the teacher assigns a new room to Hoki, she's annoyed by Ichika's apathy regarding the matter, so she leaves in frustration. Later, she makes Ichika promise her that he will go with her if she wins the upcoming singles tournament. Girls in the academy hear this and spread the rumor that whoever will win the tournament will go on a date with Ichika. Meanwhile, a transfer student from France arrives in Ichika's class by the name of Charles Dunois, another supposedly male pilot who can operate an IS. It doesn't take long before the girls start ogling him as well. Ichika takes Charles to safety. It turns out that Charles is also Ichika's new roommate. When they change, he tells Ichika to look away, casting doubt on him being male. Next day, Chifuyu makes Rin and Cecilia battle their homeroom teacher, Maya, in a demonstration fight. Despite their numbers advantage, they're defeated. Later, during their lunch break, girls share their lunch with Ichika. After the lunch, Ichika says that Hoki's food tastes the best, which annoys the other girls. The next day, another transfer student joins the academy. Laura Bodwig, an IS pilot from Germany and Chifuyu's friend, arrives and immediately slaps Ichika because she believes Ichika is unfit to call himself her brother. Ichika and Charles decide to spar against each other to test their skills. Ichika ends up losing the match. After the fight, Laura challenges Ichika to a match, which Ichika declines since he doesn't have a reason to battle her. Laura fires a shot at him to provoke him, which is blocked by Charles' shield. The commotion is put to an end by Chifuyu, who tells them to stop. Later, Ichika tries to convince Charles to stop being shy around him, but it leads to Charles running away. On his way to his room from the dorm, Ichika spots Laura requesting Chifuyu to come to Germany to teach students since this place is, quote, beneath her caliber. Despite Laura's begging, Chifuyu declines. Ichika thinks about what Laura says to him yesterday and recalls the time when she was kidnapped during the second Mondo Grosso of the IS Championship. As Ichika gets back to his room, he accidentally walks in on Charles taking a shower. It's revealed that he's actually a girl. Some awkward moments later, Ichika asks her why she was pretending to be a guy. She tells him that her family corporation was not doing well financially since the demand for third-generation models had made previous versions obsolete, so the company decided to gather data on third-generation models. Her father told her to act as a boy so they can use her as a marketing ploy to get close to Ichika as the only two male IS pilots. Ichika promises to keep her secret since, according to IS Academy rules, she will be safe from her nation and corporation for 3 years of the Academy study. Meanwhile, Laura swears revenge on Ichika and removes her eye patch to reveal a golden eye. Due to the rumor that whoever will win the tournament can go on a date with Ichika, every single girl is preparing hard for the tournament. This puts a lot of pressure on Hoki, who wants to train even harder to secure her victory. She recalls how she's been training kendo all the time despite hurdles, as it reminded her of Ichika. Later, Rin and Cecilia get into a banter and decide to spar with each other to prepare for the upcoming tournament. Their sparring is interrupted by Laura, who challenges them to a 1-on-2 duel. The match turns one-sided as Laura easily dismantles both of them. She goes overboard with it and shows no sign of stopping. Sensing that Rin and Cecilia's lives are in danger, Ichika and Charles step in for the rescue. As Ichika and Charles fight Laura, Chifuyu breaks the commotion and tells them that they can settle this dispute in the tournament. As Ichika looks over the injured Rin and Cecilia, it's announced that the tournament will be conducted in pairs, and those who don't choose a partner will be assigned a partner via a lottery system. Ichika ends up picking Charles as his partner. Since Rin and Cecilia can't participate due to damaged IS units, they tell Ichika to win the match to ensure a girl doesn't get the chance to go on a date with him. Later, Ichika tells Charles that he picked her to ensure her secret isn't uncovered by someone else. On the day of the tournament, Hoki's partner is assigned to her by lottery, since she didn't pick one. It turns out that Hoki will be accompanying Laura in her match with Charles and Ichika in the first bout. The match begins and both teams give their all. Since there's no cooperation between Laura and Hoki, she's taken out by Charles. As Laura and Ichika battle against each other, Charles joins the assault and exploits Laura's weakness. Since she isn't accustomed to fighting two formidable opponents, she suffers a lot of damage from combo attacks. With her defeat now guaranteed, Laura recalls her past of being a genetically engineered soldier. She's been given nanomachines in her eye to make her a better soldier. However, she didn't do well with IS units and was labeled a failure. Her life changed when she met Chifuyu, who taught her superior fighting tactics. With Chifuyu's training, she became one of the strongest IS operators. Back to the match, Laura starts transforming. Sensing danger, Chifuyu declares emergency and cancels the matches. Everyone's told to evacuate immediately. With Ichika out of energy, Charles transfers her energy to him. Ichika manifests his energy sword and cuts Laura free from her transformation. She wakes up in a hospital and Chifuyu explains to her what happened. Meanwhile, Ichika still decides to go out with Hoki even though the matches were called off. However, he pisses her off by acting dense and not realizing it was supposed to be a date. Later, Charles says to Ichika that she wants to stay in the academy under her real name, Charlotte. The class is furious after learning about this secret. As Rin tries to attack Ichika after learning this, he's saved by Laura, who kisses him and asks him to be her bride. Hoki calls her sister to order a personal IS unit for herself. Meanwhile, Laura sneaks into Ichika's room at night and he wakes up next to her. When he screams, she puts him in an armbar. As Hoki walks in on them, she beats up Ichika. Later, Ichika asks Charlotte to tag along while shopping for the upcoming beach class. However, they don't know that they're being stalked by Cecilia, Rin, and Laura. Ichika gives Charlotte a nickname, Charl, which makes her happy. Ichika runs into an old friend of his. As he talks, he's pulled away by Charlotte, who hides with him from the girls in a dressing room on the pretense of showing him her swimsuit. As the girls look for them, they get discovered by Chifuyu and Maya. During the beach study session, every girl tries to get close to Ichika in various ways. Later, the class plays volleyball, the match ends at sunset, and Chifuyu talks to Hoki about her sister Tabane and tells her that she will arrive with her new IS unit on the 7th day of July. Since Cecilia is having trouble sitting at the Japanese table, Ichika helps her finish her food. Other girls get jealous and make some noise, which leads to Chifuyu scolding Ichika. Ichika then tells Cecilia to eat it herself, but since she's sulky, she says she can meet him after dinner. When Cecilia arrives at the door, she sees the girls eavesdropping on Ichika and Chifuyu. The door falls down, and Chifuyu catches the girls eavesdropping on them when Ichika was giving a massage to her. She decides to talk to the girls regarding their feelings for Ichika. She tells them to step up their game if they're after him. The next day, Hoki's sister Tabane arrives in the academy with Hoki's new personal IS unit, Akasubaki, a 4th-generation suit with the most advanced mechanics and weapons than any other IS present in the academy. Hoki goes for a test flight and everyone is blown away by the specs of the IS. Meanwhile, Maya delivers news that an automated IS developed by the United States called the Silver Gospel has gone berserk. Chifuyu explains the situation to everyone and says that the IS will soon be in the airspace here. The team decides that Hoki and Ichika will pursue Silver Gospel as their IS units are the only ones fast enough to catch up to the enemy IS. Ichika is overwhelmed but gathers the resolve to do it. Hoki and Ichika activate their IS units and prepare for the mission. During the mission briefing, everyone notices that Hoki is being quite enthusiastic about all this. Sensing danger, Chifuyu talks to Ichika privately and tells him to take care of Hoki if she makes a mistake. With Akatsubaki's astounding speed, they catch up to Silver Gospel in no time. The battle begins and Hoki engages the IS while Ichika comes closer to deliver an attack. However, he breaks formation to save a fishing ship of poachers. While protecting them, he runs out of shield energy. Hoki tells Ichika to stop worrying about criminals and focus on the plan. Ichika scolds her for not caring about the lives of the weak after gaining power. Meanwhile, the IS launches a surprise attack. In order to save Hoki, Ichika pushes her out of the way and takes the damage. The impact burns away Hoki's ribbon. Hoki holds him as they fall into the water. An injured Ichika is recovered from the ocean and is admitted. Hoki recalls her childhood memories with Ichika and blames herself for what happened. The girls come to console her and convince her to fight with them. Together, they go against Chifuyu's order to stand by and go after the Silver Gospel. The girls catch up to the Silver Gospel and engage it in battle. Meanwhile, Ichika dreams about a young girl and a girl in an IS suit who asks him why he seeks strength. Ichika answers that he wants to be strong enough to protect his friends. The IS lends him strength and the young girl tells him to go. Back in the ocean, Hoki cuts off one of the wings of Silver Gospel, but it switches to its second shift. With its new form, the IS blows away Hoki. Hoki is then woken up by Ichika, who has switched into his second form, Byakushiki Setsura. Ichika gives Hoki a new ribbon as a birthday gift as they prepare for battle. With his new abilities, Ichika blocks Silver Gospel's attacks and goes after it. He runs out of shield energy, so Hoki recharges his energy using Akatsubaki's unique ability. Using their combined strength, everyone engages the enemy IS as Ichika moves closer to delivering the killing blow. With the enemy defeated, they safely make it back to the academy. Chifuyu scolds them for going against orders, but allows them to rest and congratulates them on their victory. Later, Chifuyu realizes that Tabane was the one who allowed Ichika to be the only male IS pilot, and also the one who hacked the Silver Gospel to go berserk in order to debut Akasubaki along with her sister. Meanwhile, they're interrupted by the other girls. As the girls shoot at them, Ichika is forced to carry Hoki to safety. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.